All right, guys, welcome back. I've got another video for you on mindset, and this mindset is going to be about dealing with negative thoughts. So again, the point of all this, the point of coaching with me, the reason that you hired me is because we want to help you lose body fat, and I'm going to help you to lose belly fat, love handles, reduce your waist circumference, and also lose weight overall. And what that's going to do is, number one, you're going to look way better. It's going to improve your waist to shoulder or waist to hip ratio. It makes you look more attractive to the human eye. It's going to make you healthier. And also that measurement and that ratio of height to waist is the most highly related weight measurement that we can possibly get that relates to heart disease, diabetes, stroke, all those different things. So number one, obviously, being vain, looking great, that's cool. But number two, it's going to relate to the long-term health. And you've heard me say this over and over again. You know why we're here. That's what we're trying to do. And dealing with negative thoughts, you might not think of that immediately when we say, I want to lose weight, I want to get leaner, I want to lose my love handles. But the reason that you need to learn to deal with negative thoughts is that if you're here and if you're at the point where you're hiring a coach and you're making these changes and you're taking this seriously, chances are you've tried and tried and tried a lot of different things. This isn't where we start. We don't come here the very first time. The first thing you do is you buy the supplement, or you just go and get a gym membership and sign up for the year. And so what that means is that everyone here, everyone watching this who's serious about this goal, has had some times in the past where they've tried and they've failed. And when we try things and fail, it's inevitable that we start to think a little bit negatively. And if you're stuck in this position where you've had the same problem for years and it's just been compounding over time, and you've been trying different things and feeling more and more frustrated until eventually you just kind of throw your hands up and give up, then you start to develop negative thought patterns that start to loop in your head. And what happens is they actually get ingrained more and more deeply over time. And we start to believe them, not only consciously, but also subconsciously. Now, the good thing is that I had, at the start, I had lots of these things as well. I still have negative thoughts all the time that I do learn to deal with. But the beautiful thing is now that I'm aware of the basics of how to actually adequately deal with these and start to kind of reprogram my way of thinking, I'm able to leave them behind so that they don't limit me anymore. So an example of this is that for the longest time, I thought that I just had bad fat loss genetics. Basically I was working out like 6 days a week. I'm following all these nutrition plans. I'm trying all this different stuff. I'm doing everything. I'm playing sports. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing cardio. Everything under the sun, you name it, I was doing it. And around the stomach, around the abdomen, it was always a tricky spot for me where body fat didn't want to come off. And I had this mindset that I couldn't get lean there. And the problem with that mindset is that when I think that there's nothing that I can do, then subconsciously, I just don't even want to try. Or if I am trying, I start to sabotage those beliefs. Now, honestly, it is a tricky spot for me. My body does hold on to body fat there. And that's why I've had to learn so much about this to even have any kind of control over that area of my body. It's what led me down this path and started me on this journey in the first place. But I now take the mindset that, number one, it being so difficult is actually beneficial for me because it forces me to be sharper than other coaches would. Some guys just wake up and they have a six-pack. Some guys just start eating vegetables and protein and they have abs. For me, it takes months and months of careful planning and lots of discipline, as well as making sure that my cortisol and my estrogen are low and that my testosterone is high. I have to have all of my ducks in a row, and I have to really study and continue to learn to improve and to get leaner. And so I take the mindset now that it sharpens me and it actually makes me better, and it helps me to be a better leader for everyone else who's also taking this course or who's working with me as a coach. It allows me to know more, and it also allows me to have empathy for other people who have the same struggle. So I've reprogrammed that mindset. And now, instead of looking at it as a limiting thing that holds me back, I look at it as a gift, and it just means that I have to work harder, but I look at that hard work as a blessing because it sharpens me. And there's a million other negative thoughts that I've had as well, but the problem is, before you learn to address your negative thoughts, what ends up happening is you just loop them over and over in your head. You start dieting, and you're like, man, I cannot lose weight no matter what I do. I cannot lose weight around my stomach. It's just not happening. And you get frustrated. And then you start to believe it's true, and then you start to believe that it's hopeless. And once you believe it's hopeless, the game's over. Everything's done. there's no way that you're actually going to take all the behaviors on. So I can print out my diet, I can look at it, I can plan everything for the next day. But when I get tired at the end of the day and that's looping in my head, subconsciously, I know that there's no point, and then why not have a beer? Why not just have a bag of chips on the couch? Because there's no point anyways. And that's what you start to believe. And when you're in that place, you're not in a place where you can successfully change. So what I learned to get myself out of that loop is a mix from, there's different people. You'll hear like people like Tony Robbins and stuff will bring this up. You'll also see this kind of a technique in cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm not sure if this is the exact, psychology perfect way to do it, but this has worked really well for me. So all you do is, number one, the first step is I learned to start to be aware of my negative thought patterns. So when I have a negative thought come up that's not helpful, actually step zero, I should step back even more. Step zero is that the things that you believe aren't true. They're just the story that you tell yourself. And the story that you tell yourself and the story that you believe subconsciously becomes the story that's external. So the first thing is recognizing that you can actually reprogram the way that you think, and you can actually rewrite your own story to shape the way that the next chapters will unfold. Because right now, you're just allowing the book to be written essentially, and you can take control and take authorship over it. And it's not as easy as just sitting down and writing some pages, but it is something that you can actually do. You can reprogram your mind and reprogram that subconscious story you're telling yourself. So step zero is just recognizing that you can even do it. Step one is starting to learn what your negative thought patterns are. So a good practice is just to kind of have a notepad or a journal, or if you use something like Evernote or Google Keep, a note thing on your phone, the Notes app on your iPhone, whatever it is, you can start to just write down when you notice a negative thought. And so write them down. If you notice it, just go, oh, okay, that was definitely not a helpful thought. So say you're dieting and you're feeling frustrated and you're just like, I have bad genetics, write that down. Think about the narratives that you tell yourself that aren't actually going to make it easier for you to succeed, and then jot them all down. Think about it over the course of about a week, and then at the end of the week, look and see which thought patterns are really common. Maybe you're already familiar with the ones that you tell yourself all the time. So look and think about what those thought patterns are, and step one is just becoming aware of them. Become aware of your negative programming and the negative things that you're holding in your mind that are holding you back from getting where you want to go. If it's something that is incongruent with you actually taking control over your life and getting lean, it is of no value to you. So write that down, even if you still kind of think that it might be true. Now, at the start, I certainly didn't think that I could just, I still thought that these things were true to a degree, and you will too. But what you can do is just write them down, even though you think they might be true anyways, and we can discuss them. And we'll see which ones are really true or not. A lot of people blame fat loss on bad genetics. The truth is 99% of us are actually fine. It's a little bit harder for some of us, but most of the time it's because we have certain behaviors or certain perspectives, and those are the things that are really holding us back. Most of us genetically are okay. So that's an easy one. Bad genetics, write that down. Anything else that you think to be true, write it down. The other thing is some of these might actually be real, and then we'll just learn together. We'll chat, we'll talk on the phone, and we'll figure out how to address the real problems. But then the other ones that are just fictional narratives in your head, I will help you separate the two. And then what we'll do is we'll start to actually learn to deal with the negative ones. So we've got step zero, just accepting that some of these beliefs that we have, even if you still believe them to be true, are probably bullshit. Number two is just becoming aware of them and starting to write them down and recognizing which ones you actually have, what your negative thought loops are. Step three is when you find that is coming up, whatever that negative thought is, saying stop in your head. And you notice too, I just snap my fingers. Seems like a weird thing to do, like stop, what am I doing? When you actually put a physical cue with that mental thought of stop, it helps to enhance what you're doing and it helps to ingrain it deeper. So when I go stop, I'm freezing, I'm going, okay, stop. And then what I'm going to do is reprogram or redirect, or to go back to our analogy of a story, I'm rewriting my story. So I'm basically going, whoa, stop. This story sucks. I'm backing up, hit backspace a couple times, mentally. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace it with a belief that's useful. So let's say I'm sitting around, I'm following my diet, I'm getting frustrated, I'm not losing weight. I'm like, man, my genetics suck. I can't lose lower belly fat. I just can't do it. Stop. okay, it's a little bit hard for me to lose low belly fat, but I can definitely still do it. I just have to be sharper than other people, and that's a gift because it actually helps me to help other people more, and it forces me to be more knowledgeable. And this doesn't have to be external. If you speak it externally, if you're like at home by yourself in your apartment or something like that, it's more powerful, but you can do it all internally, and you can also write it down. Any way that you can make it physical and tangible is going to enhance it, but you don't necessarily need to do it out loud. You can do it in your head. And what you can do is start to catch these negative thought patterns and replace them with useful beliefs. And then that will start to become your story. And then when you start to rewrite your story, it redirects where your story goes. Or at least that's my experience for me. So this has worked really well for me, guys. It's really helped me to overcome a lot of negative beliefs. And the truth is, it's not a process that ends. It's something where you catch the ones that are really big and then they get smaller over time, but they will get replaced with other negative beliefs. And this is a continuous process where you are continually recognizing and then continually redirecting and rewriting your story. But what this does is when you learn to start to get control of your thoughts, combining that with discipline, you start to achieve real freedom and real control over your life. And while it's going to start here with us getting you lean, getting you that waist to height measurement, getting you that waist measurement, getting you to that body weight where you're really happy and you're feeling really good about your body, it's going to have a ripple effect to every other aspect of your life because you also have negative beliefs in other areas of life and you also need discipline in every other area of life. So that's all I've got for this one, guys. This is like a super powerful one. I know it just seems like kind of a small, weird thing, like a bit woo-woo, but this really is tangible and it really does have tremendous implications and really big effects. So do your best to take it seriously. Do your best to actually follow through and do it. You know, maybe you just write down one negative thought a day, whatever it is. Start with a small one. Linking back to the last video, start with a small behavior that you are 100% sure you can do as you start to develop this skill. Hold yourself to it and stay disciplined. And then eventually, as you compound these over time, you're going to actually be able to break through on the other side. But until you take those steps, knowing all of this isn't going to do anything for you. So I hope you find that helpful. That's what worked in my experience. That's how I overcame negative thought patterns. It's something that I still continue to do and continue to learn more about. And I believe that if you try to do it as well, you will finally be able to overcome them. But if you do not address your negative beliefs and kind of attack them systematically and replace them with useful beliefs, just recognize that your story is written in a way that is never going to lead to the outcome that you want. And until you start to address that, no matter how much you learn about diet and exercise and how many plans you buy and how much money you spend and supplements you buy, subconsciously you will never do the behaviors that it takes to live the story that you want to live. So get on that. I hope you enjoyed and I'll be back with more soon. Take care, guys.